Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you had a fantastic day. So, I'm Krishna, and I'll be giving today's Geek Speak on the topic of Expo, but for Flutter. So, my main aim here is to introduce you to the topic of code push and how that can be, this concept can be utilized in a Flutter app. To begin, we must understand what is really the need for a faster app updates. Like we might know in web dev land that whenever there is a site update, right, all you have to do is like redeploy the site and it's pretty instantaneous. However, when there's a mobile app, it needs to go through certain processes, right? Play Store verification process, for review process per se, and the app stores. Now, generally, these are not that time consuming. The average time for Play Store would be some 2 to 3 hours, and if you have a good report, you're a big developer, that can be as down as 10 minutes. And for iOS is a bit stringent, and if there is any prior violation of some policy or terms, that can take up to 2 weeks on some accounts for an app upgrade. So these are one of the main things that we try to solve via code push. We basically push the app as an OTA over to the user, like circumventing these review processes of these platforms. The second reason could be that you might have pushed an update and that has got reviewed and published at these platforms, but the thing is auto updates might be turned on off on the user's device, so you have pushed the update but they will not be updating their app effectively. Second deal could be that there is a certain security flaw that you recognize and it's better to just patch it as fast as possible. And it could also be that the user's device is on some limited data plan or they are not on Wi-Fi. In that case, these OS defaults to pushing the auto update to be off, right? So these are the few things. So to solve these in React Native, we had Expo, right, which you like took a lot of concept from Code Push that was initially developed by Microsoft, which basically took over the over-the-air updates for the app. So the app is pushed over to Microsoft servers, on in this case the Expo server, and that will be straight away patched and sent to the user's device, circumventing the Play Store. Now we didn't have something similar to in the Flutter land, but recently you might be hearing about Shorebird. So they basically takes the concept of that code push and integrates it neatly with our Flutter ecosystem. Now this has been in development in here, but only recently this has really got into a stable phase and people have started using it in a production environment. And to learn more about anything I'll be speaking, you can head over to the shorebird.dev, which is their website. Now, let me quickly go over to the features that you get when you adopt Shorebird. So the first is obviously that you'll be able to deploy updates instantly, bypassing any review times that you may have. These are good for critical security bug updates or certain features that you want to ensure that the user's app is updated, basically without any consent needed per se. And there would be also the improved user experience. Let's say you did A/B testing and you're all about that rapid, integrating these all features and certain, simplifying certain user flows. So you could push it to via the Shorebird instantly, and that would ensure that you are, turning that clicks over to, the profits. Second could be that you can integrate within minutes. So unlike Expo, Shorebird really doesn't need all sort of Expo ecosystem setup and things like that. This generally hooks at the build time. So your Flutter code will have no such changes. The only changes would be how you build the app. And during build, Shorebird will attach its servers worker to your app that will basically take care of OTA. So there's no need to learn something like Expo. You need their own app router, things like that. So there's certain things you need to learn over React Native. So no such thing needed here. And this has been designed for Flutter ecosystem. So that means the developer experience, the coding paradigm that Flutter devs are used to, right? So these are would be very familiar to Flutter devs to use Shorebird. And obviously it supports all your Android and iOS devices with the support for, let's say, Windows and Linux, probably in the development phase right now. That might come in the future. And this works well for hybrid apps. So you might be questioning, what is hybrid app? So hybrid app is when you have a native app, but you have integrated or embedded a certain Flutter views or certain widgets of Flutter in that app. So you can also use Shorebird to update these Flutter views over the air, bypassing any of the platform like Microsoft's App Store or whatever restriction. And the main or core feature why developers would try to adopt is they have an insanely free tier. They allow you to create unlimited app and over 5,000 patches that are updates OTA over there for free. And even the pricing strategy is generally meant on patch, and they give unlimited app hosting on their platform. Now, obviously, it's not all good news. There are a few limitations here as well. So in case your app, as you know, there is Play Store and App Store policy. So in case your app has, like you created your app with certain permission, and now you're certainly, using some new permissions now, right? So this wouldn't be declared. So this can actually violate Play Store's terms of services. So that is generally, looked down upon to update with this. And any, you can add new packages to your apps even, but anything that makes use of the native code or FFI, where you would be implementing certain native code, that can be pushed across successfully to user's device. So that's one of like major drawbacks here. But yeah, any Flutter changes, any number of screens you want, anything that is just Flutter centric, that can be basically pushed over there to the users. And also you might have heard like self-hosting option is very popular. There's a certain infra, and like also like let's say Sentry as well provides a free self-hosting in case you want to take over the entire control for hosting. Now Shorebird right now has no self-hosting option. This might come in future, but for now that's one of the crippling depressions we have here. So let's see how it looks to get started with Shorebird. So to install Shorebird, we just have this simple curl command where it just fetches all the binaries that is required to install this on our machine. This is the GitHub command for now. And all you need to do then is go to Shorebird website, get a login. It's just a simple Google OAuth login. That's the only thing that support for now. And just you need to click like enter the command Shorebird login. This will basically give you a link on your CLI and to show what that would look like. So yeah, so this is how you would get the output as once you enter the command Shorebird login, you would get a link, and that you click on that, you did Google Auth, and this will basically create your credentials that will be written by the web browser would be stored in your credentials or JSON. And this is basically has linked your Shorebird CLI to your account on the Shorebird. Now, you have installed and there is any doubt or you need some help with troubleshooting, just like how we had Flutter Doctor for Flutter, we also have some Shorebird Doctor, which will help you, fix any issues you might have or to verify if the install was correct. Now, to get initialize Shorebird in your existing Flutter project on a new one is pretty simple. There's a command Shorebird space init that would basically initialize Shorebird. And this basically is divided, you can say it's divided into three parts. The first part, it would like go through your Android manifest and attach your internet permissions because it needs that for OTA. And secondly, it would create a unique shorebird.yaml, which will have your app ID. And this is not a secret per se. You can upload it on GitHub, no issue. And this will be used to target your app. It's unique. So it's used by Shorebird to target your app, all the updates you've sent. And thirdly, it will also make certain build process changes when you run shorebird.build, and it will have .iml file to know what source directory to target or not. So these are pretty non-intrusive things. It won't change your project in such a manner that you cannot use Flutter build. You can still use that. This is just adding another advantage if you use shorebird build command, which we'll get to shortly. Now that you've initialized the Flutter app, you can code. You can have any your app code, let's say, and now you want to release it, right? So instead of your general Flutter release, you'll be using Shorebird release, followed by the platform you want to. For now, Android and iOS are vastly supported. So for Android, it would be Shorebird release Android, and similarly for iOS, it would be Shorebird release iOS. Moving along, now you have created the app, and in case this is a developer feature, in case you want to build on an emulator, so you can either after the build you can drag and drop to your emulator, or they have another easy command which will do it for you. That's called Shorebird preview. So any open emulator is there, it will basically link, or it will ask you if in case you have multiple which emulator to attach to. Now that has been previewed. Now we come to the facts, which is called patches, but these are basically the updates that you will be pushing via the Shorebird instead of your general App Store, Play Store way. So to create a patch, once you have changed your code, that made certain changes and updates to your code. For Android, you can just hit Shorebird patch Android. Similarly, for iOS, you will replace the platform with iOS, and this will create a patch. It will ask you which version you wish to patch, and this patch, as soon as it's built, it will be live. And the way this works is through diffing. So what do you mean by binary diffing per se? You might be wondering, ki, hey, is it all like dynamic? Like it's not build time compiled and all that. Will I lose certain AOT feature like ahead of time compilation? All the things that come with the a statically typed language. So it's not that. So once you build, it would create a proper binary file. And then what Shorebird does is basically every time you push an update, it will check the differences between these binary files, and it will only send those changed part, which the Flutter thing that the Shorebird thing that is hooked to your app will consume and update accordingly. The app file that is stored in the user's device. So here, let's go on with this demo. So right now, let's just initialize with Shorebird init, and it's going to detect flavors, which are nothing but your, let's say, the flavors you would have. And here you would be causing. So that has done these changes. So under the shortbird YAML, you'll see that app ID is created, which is used to uniquely target basically your app. Now, if you go to shortbird demo, this is basically telling all the directory files that is to be taken by shortbird. So it has said lib is my directory that will be consumed, and here is the simple shortbird app. So here in the directory, I'll be typing. Okay, wait a minute. Yeah. So yeah, from the beginning, let's just get rid of this play button. Okay. All right. Oh yeah, I guess we have to just watch this video. So the reason this is a video because it takes a bit of time to just start building with this. So yeah, so to restart, so we'll have shortbird init command, which will effectively get all your product flavors. That is your developer or production channel effectively, and you get to name your app. And once this has been achieved, you can simply see that it has created certain file on the left side. So the shortbird YAML is storing your app ID here, and this tells the app which unique ID to target on the shortbird server. Now we have this demo.iml file, which is just telling that lib is our main directory and these directories to be explored, which is the build tools and all that things. Now let's over to the main code. Now this is the code which is having our simple app, right? And to create a release, we'll just hit shortbird release, and for Android, so just hit Android. And this will take a bit of time to build. So this is fast forwarded part because it takes a bit of a while in Mac right now. But yeah, so after it's done, like it'll take a good chunk, and it will just push it to the Shorebird server. This can be seen from your Shorebird console. And once that is done, you can simply hit the Shorebird preview command because we are running an emulator, and let's just hook on to that for now. And so basically downloading the build binaries from your server and just installing that APK on your emulator for now. And once that is done, as we can see, we have our simple app. So this is just a one screen app. And let's just go to home and show that this is actually installed. So there's that, our simple app. And let's move on to actually have certain changes here. So let me just change the directory to my current folder, and that's it. Okay, so let's go to the demo folder here. And as we can see, I'm just going to copy some code over from an old app and just paste that. And as you can see, I'll also change the entry point of the app. So it's a pretty substantial change. And I'm also adding few new screen. So for the import, let's just erase that. Okay, let's just import it this way. So once we have all the imports fixed, for let's just copy pasted the code. So let me get this import fixed right here. Okay, and just I'll delete the old entry point, let's say, of the app. Now I've created changes, and now I want to patch. So I'll patch it with Shorebird patch, and I'll use for Android. So the target flag. Now it chooses me to which version. So this is the version I'd like to patch. It will take a few times, because a few minutes, like it will do patch diffing, binary diffing, and all that in the background processes. And it will just dispatch that patch over to all the users. And this can be visible, like this will be visible under your console. You can also delete the patches and all that in the console app. Now moving along, this will take a bit of time. So yeah, this is the final step. If you would like to continue with the steps, you can obviously hold this anytime with Control C. Now it will finally, they have dispatched the thing to the local build, so the servers are not that overrun. So once it has been done locally and pasted to your server, now we can remove it from RAM here, and let's just close the app again. And yeah, okay, this later is a bit finicky. All right, so now that has been cleared. As you can see, we now have a new text, GeekSpeak on Shorebird, and we have also the another screen that was added from the old project. And so as you see, I have like uploaded multiple screens, entire new app per se. I've also changed the entry point, right? So it's a pretty robust, and there's no limitation unless you start implementing native code onto your Flutter app. Moving along, how would you integrate it with a CI/CD workflow, right? Because generally in production environment, you would need some sort of CI/CD environment to just increase your build times, basically. So let's say for now they have support for GitHub and CodeMagic, and if you go for the like GitHub and action that I would be exploring for now, so the process is pretty simple. All you need to do is go to your Shorebird GitHub action, right? That you have to clone this repository to your, and once this is cloned, you have to create a CI login just for this GitHub action. So that would be Shorebird login CI, and you can learn more on the doc site, which is available under CI/GitHub on the shorebird.dev. Moving along, so this is something like in sample output that you can expect once you hit that command. So it will give you a link as usual. You would just log in your Google account that will have a credential, and this is also expose you a Shorebird token. Now this is a secret token that you need to ensure is not uploaded to your GitHub or anything like that. So to ensure that this is properly put onto your GitHub account. So we can follow this process that I had done. So basically, you can take this copied Shorebird token and you will navigate to your GitHub repo under settings, secret and variable, and under actions, and you will create a new repo secret that would be a Shorebird token and just paste it there. And on the right hand side, you can see the GitHub. This is a sample, matlab, a simple action I had wrote. So what it does is checks on the push, like on push branches release. That is when I create a release branch, it will check on that, and this is takes the Shorebird token from my secrets. And the job it basically does is takes an event to write and in the steps side, if you can do, the first thing it will do is do a checkout for the GitHub, the setup Shorebird. This is the CLI tool, so it will clone that repo here, and it will check and it will do conditional steps, right? This is just for Android for now. And the first, as you can see, there's an if condition on the steps. So this checks if the like branch was created by GitHub event. That is, this branch is newly created. In that case, if the it is true, then we will release the basically we need to create release, right? So it will conditionally use the release command. That is the first for the first time build. And in the last step, you can see there is an if check as well. If the event was not created by GitHub, the branch is not newly created, just new updates. So what we'll do is simply run the patch commands from here. And to move along, I'd like to show how the console looks. So this is the console. This is the main websites. You can hit console here. Now I'm already logged in. You'll have a Google Auth login if you're new. So here is my Shorebird demo app, and here, as you can see, we have the patch that was released. You can also delete this release if you so wish, and click there. And this is patch one. Now this is live. You can also deactivate patches in case you have multiple patches. What will happen is only the most recent patch will start getting uploaded to the users. You can see a bit of insights if you want for now. And this is all the artifacts that it would have created. You can download it and then compile it yourself on your machine to kind of see what it does. So this is for the patch side. For now, pretty simple. And if you just head over to docs.shorebird.dev, they will have all what I've talked about in this talk and more over on the docs.